So the Montreal Canadiens seem to be getting a little bit antsy, and there's been talk that they may be looking up north at the Edmonton Oilers prospect Jesse Puljujarvi as a possible addition to the lineup. We're going to talk about that rumor here in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos like this, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the Montreal Canadiens possibly looking at Jesse Puljujarvi. So back in 2016, we saw the Edmonton Oilers have their draft pick at number 4. Now, they've always had plenty of great players. They were always winning the draft lottery, this and that. Well, they actually bumped down the Columbus Blue Jackets with the whole lottery system, actually moved up to number 3, and everybody expected them to select Jesse Puljujarvi. Well, they went off the board technically. Doesn't seem that way now, but they went for the centerman, big centerman, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now, obviously, Jarmo Kekalainen knew what he was doing, and he saw the potential in Dubois, and he has become the top center there in Columbus. The guy that went number 4 to the Edmonton Oilers seemed like a steal that fell right into their lap was the European Jesse Puljujarvi, and it seemed like an easy pick for the Edmonton Oilers, except he really hasn't turned out, and dare I say the next Nail Yakupov? Well, we'll see what happens with that. But we're going to take a look at the points that we've seen from Jesse Puljujarvi, what his potential value is, and obviously the rumors that have been thrown around. So we're going to take a look back in 2016, 2017, his first season in the NHL. He spent some time in the AHL as well. In the NHL, he had 8 points in 28 games. That's why he got sent to the AHL. He was not producing at the NHL level to the level that a 4th overall pick should be producing. So he went to the AHL, fine. He had 28 points in 39 games, so he had pretty nice totals there in the AHL there in 2016, 2017. In 2017, 2018, though, we saw things change a little bit. There was a lot more time playing in the NHL and a lot less in the AHL because he played 65 games with 20 points in 2017, 2018, and he only played 10 games in the AHL that year, but he did put up 5 points, so he was pretty much every other game putting up a point. Not too bad at the AHL level. He only did play for 10 games, though. In 2018, 2019, this is where things definitely take a turn for the worst. 9 points in 46 games in the NHL. Yikes, that's really bad. And he's a minus 14. That's like really bad. He was not helping his line at all. Now again, the line mates have something to do with that as well. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, he was probably playing in the bottom 6, in that middle 6, which in Edmonton isn't the best, but you still have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and possibly Leon Draisaitl at points. Yeah, negative 14 isn't okay. That's not going to fly. He put up 4 points in 4 games in the AHL, so he was a point per game at the AHL level. But that was it. That was pretty much it for Jesse Puljujarvi. He had some injury issues, and then he went over to Europe for the 2019-2020 season where he played in Karpat. He had 53 points in 56 games played. He is almost a point per game in Europe, which is pretty solid. It's not NHL numbers. It's not that flattering, but that is pretty solid overall, and it's definitely drawn interest from the rest of the NHL. So there's been talk that we may see a pretty massive trade here for Jesse Puljujarvi. Now, Ken Holland has been pretty adamant, if there's not a good deal, we're not going to just trade this guy. We need to get good value back. So what's likely the return? That's a good question. Now, obviously, like I talked about, the Montreal Canadiens, there's been talk that the New York Rangers have been interested as well. Most recently, there was talk that the New York Rangers could trade Lias Andersson and or a first-round pick for Jesse Puljujarvi. Now, that's a lot. I got to be honest. Anderson's value is probably pretty low. I think a 1-for-1 could work in that scenario. 2 guys that don't want to play for their team. There's been talk that Henrik Borgstrom of the Florida Panthers could draw interest to the Edmonton Oilers, as Borgstrom does look, he does seem to be looking overseas. He doesn't want to play with the Florida Panthers anymore. He has not been getting that top 6 center time that he would like to get. He may have an opportunity in Edmonton, maybe. Nah, probably not. So I don't know what the whole deal is with that, but I wonder what could happen there. There's been potential there. And you know what? The Montreal Canadiens, again, this seems a little bit off the board, but Jonathan Drouin, you see maybe a 1-for-1. I don't know if the Oilers, Ken Holland, would be too interested in that. I think he wants to add another defenseman. But again, if you're looking to maybe bring in a winger to, fill that void that Puljujarvi left, a guy like Drouin could possibly be that. Now again, Drouin is a Montreal native or a Quebec native, so I don't think he wants to leave Montreal. But we've seen Marc Bergevin do crazier things. He's made some pretty crazy trades. He made the Subban for Weber trade, the Drouin for Sergachev trade. He definitely isn't afraid to make moves. So the possibility of him possibly going for a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi, a young winger who has potential, a former fourth-round pick. He had a pretty solid season in Europe this year. Would Marc Bergevin look to pull the trigger and make a big move and possibly bring in a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi? I think the potential is definitely there. Like I said, I think you're looking at one of those top players, though. Would you be willing to give up, say, a Noah Juleson or a Jonathan Drouin or a Caden Primo or one of those guys? That's likely what the Montreal Canadiens are going to have to give up for a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi. We know Ken Holland is pretty, tight-fisted on Puljujarvi. He's not going to let him walk for nothing. I think we could see a pretty interesting trade here for Jesse Puljujarvi. It's been talked about now for over a year, possibly 2 years at this point. So the potential is definitely there. When there's smoke, there's usually fire. I think we're going to see something get done here with Jesse Puljujarvi in the next couple of weeks. So if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, you want to make sure you stay tuned. The latest on this channel. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And you know what? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think the most likely destination is for Jesse Puljujarvi? And leave some mock trades down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, have a great day.